My key card barely registers in the apartment door when my phone buzzes with a notification about unusual weather patterns. Rain in Austin during October, just what I need after 14 hours debugging security protocols. I push into my condo, kick off my heels, and drop my laptop bag on the kitchen counter. The burgundy blazer I selected this morning now feels like a straitjacket after a day of boardroom presentations. The digital clock on my microwave blinks 8:37 p.m. Too late for a proper dinner, too early to justify ice cream for a meal. I settle on reheating yesterday's lasagna when my doorbell chimes. "Who on earth?" I mutter, padding across the hardwood floor in my stockinged feet. Through the peephole, raindrops distort the view, but I recognize her instantly. My stomach plummets to my toes. 23 years haven't changed that calculating stare, though the blonde hair now comes from a bottle instead of nature. My mother, Vanessa. And beside her, a young man with her eyes and a slouch that speaks of entitled boredom. I consider pretending I'm not home. My fingers hover over the lock, trembling slightly. The doorbell chimes again, more insistent this time. "Michelle? Honey? I know you're in there. Open up, we're getting soaked out here." The endearment sounds foreign in her mouth. She abandoned the right to call me honey when she walked out our front door in Cleveland, suitcase in hand, never looking back at her 10-year-old daughter. I swing the door open, keeping my expression neutral. This is unexpected. "Surprise!" Vanessa trills, arms outstretched as if expecting an embrace. When I don't move, she drops them awkwardly. "Aren't you going to invite us in? It's pouring out here." Of course I step aside mechanically. "Please come in." Vanessa sweeps past me, bringing the scent of expensive perfume and cigarettes. The young man follows my half-brother Ethan, though we've never spoken. Memory flashes like lightning. Dad hunched over bills at our kitchen table, circles darkening beneath his eyes. The diner's broken air conditioner during the hottest summer on record. Me at 12, washing dishes after school, homework spread across the back counter, because we couldn't afford to hire enough help. "Nice place," Ethan remarks, inspecting my living room with unconcealed judgment. "Kind of small though, isn't it?" "It suits my needs." I close the door firmly. "Can I get you something to drink?" Vanessa runs her finger along my bookshelf. "Just water for me." "Ethan? Got any beer?" he asks, flopping onto my cream-colored couch without removing his damp jacket. "No beer. Water, coffee, or tea. Whatever," he sighs, pulling out his phone. Vanessa circles my living room, picking up framed photos, studying the titles on my bookshelf. "I've heard you're doing quite well for yourself. Some kind of computer job?" "Cybersecurity analyst." I pour 2 glasses of water and set them on the coffee table. "How did you find me?" She waves her hand dismissively. "Oh, you know how it is these days. Everything's online." A pause. "Your father mentioned you moved to Austin." Dad and I speak weekly. He's never once mentioned communicating with Vanessa. "I hear you make good money. So," she continues, settling into my reading chair. "6 figures, right? That promotion last year really set you up." The hairs on my neck prickle. I haven't told Dad about my salary, and my promotion happened 7 months ago. "What brings you to Austin?" I ask, remaining standing. Ethan glances up from his phone. "Mom wanted to see you, and I'm checking out some schools." "Schools?" "Ethan got accepted to a private business program in Chicago," Vanessa interjects, her voice swelling with pride. "Very exclusive. Only takes 40 students a year." "Congratulations," I offer. "Yeah, well," Ethan shrugs. "It's expensive as hell, like really expensive." My stomach tightens. The true purpose of their visit crystallizes. "Michelle," Vanessa leans forward, her voice honeyed. "Ethan needs this opportunity. This program will set him up for life connections, prestige, everything I couldn't give you." The naked manipulation stuns me. 23 years of silence, and this is what brings her back? "The tuition is steep," she continues, "and there's living expenses in Chicago. We calculated it all out. $4,500 a month would cover everything." Ethan looks up. "Plus I need a decent laptop. And maybe a car. Public transportation in Chicago is sketchy." My hands tremble, but I keep my voice level. That's quite a request from people I haven't seen in over 2 decades. Vanessa's expression hardens slightly before melting into practiced concern. "I know we have catching up to do. That's why I thought we could meet for lunch tomorrow." "Discuss options." She reaches for my hand. "Family helps family, Michelle. You understand that better than anyone." I pull back before she can touch me. "I have meetings tomorrow." "Dinner then," she presses. Ethan's future depends on this. Wouldn't you have wanted this kind of opportunity? The irony burns like acid in my throat. I wanted a mother who stayed, a childhood without working after school to help Dad keep our diner afloat. I wanted someone who remembered my birthdays. I'll check my calendar, I say finally. Where are you staying? The Westgate, Vanessa replies, standing. Room 412. We'll be here through Sunday. Hulaf? 5 days. I walk to the door and open it. I'll call you tomorrow. After reluctant goodbyes and Vanessa's awkward attempt at a hug, I close the door and slide the deadbolt into place. My apartment feels violated somehow, tainted by their presence. I lean against the door, breathing deeply, trying to steady my racing heart. $4,500 a month. $54,000 a year to support a half-brother I've never known, requested by a mother who abandoned me without a backward glance. I move to my laptop, open my banking app, and stare at the savings I've built through years of overtime and careful planning. I could afford it. That's the worst part, I could actually afford it. But as I close the laptop, a certainty settles over me. I might still crave the maternal approval I was denied as a child, but I won't sacrifice my security to buy it. This time, I won't be the one left behind. The rain beats against my window as I lock the door behind Vanessa and Ethan. Their scent, her expensive perfume, his damp jacket lingers in my living room like unwelcome ghosts. My shoulders slump as exhaustion crashes over me. The lasagna sits forgotten in the microwave. I shuffle toward my bedroom to change when something stops me cold. My laptop, the one I'd closed before answering the door, sits open on my kitchen counter, the screen glowing with my banking dashboard. What the hell? My pulse quickens as I approach. The activity log shows 3 failed login attempts from an unrecognized device within the past hour. I wasn't even home. The timestamp confirms it. 8:12 p.m., 8:15 p.m., 8:17 p.m., 20 minutes before they rang my doorbell. My hands hover over the keyboard as dread pools in my stomach. I navigate to my email, scanning recent messages with growing horror. There, flagged as unread, a forwarded message from Dad's email account containing my employment details, salary, and promotion announcement from 7 months ago. No way, I whisper, my voice strange in the empty apartment. I dial Dad immediately, fingers trembling against the screen. Hey, kiddo. His familiar voice answers, warm and steady. Everything okay? It's late for you to be calling on a weeknight. Dad, has anyone been in your email recently? Specifically, have you sent any messages about my job to Vanessa? His pause tells me everything. No, but, he clears his throat. I got a notification last month about a password reset I didn't request. Changed it right away, figured it was just one of those security things. My stomach knots tighter. Dad, Vanessa and Ethan are in Austin. They showed up at my door tonight asking for money. Lots of money. What? His voice sharpens. Michelle, I haven't spoken to that woman since she left. Not once in 23 years. I sink into a kitchen chair, suddenly lightheaded. They knew about my promotion, Dad. The exact timing. My salary. Things I never posted online. Things only you knew. Jesus Christ, he mutters. That boy of hers, didn't you say he was into computers? The pieces click into place. Ethan's bored slouch disguising calculated interest. His casual inspection of my living space. His immediate demand for a decent laptop on top of the $4,500 monthly payments. I need to check something, I tell Dad, putting him on speaker. I open my security settings, scroll through recent login locations. 3 unknown IP addresses appear, all tracking back to Cleveland hotels from 3 weeks ago. They've been planning this, I say, half to myself. They didn't just happen to be in Austin. They came specifically for me, for my money. Dad's heavy sigh fills the line. What do you need from me, kiddo? The question breaks through the fog of shock. I straighten in my chair, something shifting inside me. The trembling in my hands steadies as I reach for a notebook and pen. Everything you can remember about the password reset notification. Dates, times, any unusual emails you might have received before or after. While Dad speaks, I document every detail in neat, precise handwriting. The same methodology I use when tracking security vulnerabilities at work. My training kicks in. Identify the breach, assess the damage, secure the perimeter. I'll call you back tomorrow. I promise, Dad. And Dad, don't respond if she contacts you. After hanging up, I brew a strong pot of coffee and settle at the kitchen table. The storm outside intensifies, but inside, a strange calm descends. I create a folder labeled Vanessa and Ethan and begin methodically cataloging evidence, screenshots of login attempts, timestamps, my father's testimony. My phone buzzes with a text from my coworker, Jenna. How'd the board presentation go? Ready for happy hour tomorrow? My fingers hover over the screen before I type, rain check, family emergency. But I could use your advice. Your brother's a lawyer, right? Anyone he recommends for privacy issues? Her response comes quickly. Martin Keller, tough as nails. Want his number? A soft knock at my door startles me. Through the peephole, I see Mrs. Wilson, my elderly neighbor, clutching her robe closed at her throat. I'm sorry to bother you so late, dear, she says when I open the door. But I saw that woman checking your mailbox this afternoon. Didn't think much of it until I saw her come back with that young man. Thought you should know. Thought you should know. My blood chills. Checking my mailbox? You're sure? Mrs. Wilson nods firmly. Around 4. Tall blonde woman, very well dressed. Tried the handle first, then peeked through your windows. I thank her, promising to be vigilant, and lock the door behind me. Another piece of evidence for my growing file. My phone chimes with a bank security alert. Unusual login attempt detected. Please verify account access. I call the number on the back of my credit card rather than clicking any links. The security representative confirms 3 additional attempts within the past hour, all from a hotel IP address in Austin. The Westgate. By midnight, I've changed every password I own, updated all security questions, and added 2-factor authentication to each account. I've frozen my credit, alerted my company's IT department, and scheduled a meeting with Martin Keller for tomorrow morning. Outside, the storm gradually subsides. I stand at my kitchen window, watching raindrops trace paths down the glass. The hollow victory of securing what should never have been violated leaves me empty. $4,500 a month. $54,000 a year. The numbers Vanessa casually demanded repeat in my mind, no longer shocking but clarifying. This isn't about reconnecting with a long-lost daughter. It isn't about family at all. The truth settles over me like a weight. My mother breached my privacy, violated my father's email, and orchestrated an elaborate scheme to extract money from the daughter she abandoned. I close my laptop, suddenly bone-tired but resolute. The confusion and shock that paralyzed me earlier has crystallized into something harder, colder, more defined. The little girl who craved her mother's approval might still exist somewhere inside me, but tonight, a different version of Michelle Rowe has emerged. This isn't about being mean or unforgiving. It's about survival. A day after the incident, my phone buzzes with a text notification while I stir cream into my coffee at Copper Bean Cafe. The message preview makes my stomach clench. How can you be so selfish? After all I sacrificed for you. I turn the phone face down. Across the cafe, a toddler giggles as her father pretends a spoon is an airplane. The normal scene feels like it belongs in a different universe from the storm brewing in my life. Ready to order, Miss Rowe? The barista, Tina, hovers nearby with her pen poised. Just the coffee today. Thanks. 2 hours later, the peaceful moment shatters when the cafe door swings open, and Vanessa strides in, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. She spots me instantly. Michelle. She projects her voice loud enough that several patrons turn to stare. I've been trying to reach you for days. I keep my expression neutral. It's been only a day, Vanessa. She drops into the chair opposite mine, her platinum blonde hair swinging perfectly into place. You've been avoiding us. Ethan's enrollment deadline is next week. I've been working. Family comes first. She reaches for my hand across the table. You should understand that better than anyone, considering how your father struggled after I left. My pulse hammers in my throat, but I pull my hand away before she can touch me. Is that what you're calling abandonment now? After you left? Heads turn in our direction. Vanessa's voice rises. How dare you? You have no idea what I went through. You're right, I don't. I stand, gathering my laptop bag, and this isn't the place to discuss it. Everyone! Vanessa announces to the now silent cafe. My daughter makes 6 figures at her fancy tech job, but she won't help her own brother go to college. What kind of person refuses to help family? Heat floods my face. The barista shoots me a sympathetic glance. We're done here, I say quietly, walking toward the door. Behind me, Vanessa calls, You ungrateful child. You should be thankful I gave you life. I don't turn back. That afternoon, while checking my email, I discover Vanessa has taken the fight public. A social media post tags distant relatives. Heartbroken that my daughter has forgotten where she came from. Success changes people. Ungrateful children. Broken family. Everything's a media post to be. Within the hour, my phone lights up with calls from relatives I haven't spoken to in years, all of them armed with Vanessa's manipulated version of events. Aunt Patty's voice quavers when I finally answer. Michelle, honey, your mother's devastated. Surely you can spare something for Ethan? Did she mention she abandoned me at 10? Or that she hasn't called me in 23 years until she wanted money? My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Well, no. But I need to go, Aunt Patty. Take care. I block 3 numbers before my phone buzzes with a text from Ethan. Mom's crying because of you. Man up and do the right thing. $4,500 isn't shit to you. I need this now. My finger hovers over the block button when a new idea strikes me. Instead, I screenshot the message and save it to a folder on my desktop labeled Documentation. The following morning, I sit across from Martin Keller in his downtown law office. Despite the early hour, his charcoal suit looks freshly pressed, and his salt and pepper beard is neatly trimmed. So, he says, reviewing my notes, your estranged mother and half-brother want nearly $60,000 annually, with no legal obligation for repayment. That's right. And they've escalated to public harassment and attempted guilt manipulation. Yes. I push the folder across his desk. I've documented everything: texts, calls, social media posts. Martin nods approvingly. Smart move. Most people make the mistake of deleting evidence when they're upset. I'm a data analyst. Evidence is what I do. Have you considered a restraining order? The question startles me. Isn't that extreme? Isn't that extreme? Michelle, Martin leans forward. They're not just asking for money. They've attempted unauthorized access to your accounts. That's criminal. My phone buzzes with another text. Ethan again. We know where you work. Think your fancy tech company wants this drama? I show Martin the message. That, he says, is textbook harassment. After leaving Martin's office, I drive straight to Best Buy and purchase a new doorbell camera and window sensors. That evening, while installing them, my neighbor Mrs. Wilson stops by with a plate of snickerdoodles. Saw you putting in that security system, she says, eyeing the empty packaging. Everything okay? Just being cautious, I reply, accepting the cookies. That night, I make 2 more calls, one to schedule an appointment with Dr. Helen Drew, a therapist specializing in family trauma, and another to my father. Dad, can you come to Austin this weekend? I could use some support. 3 days later, Vanessa requests another meeting. This time, I choose a public park with plenty of witnesses. I arrive early and sit at a picnic table, my back to a tree, my phone recording in my pocket. Vanessa arrives 15 minutes late, her expression rehearsed into contrition. Michelle, she begins, I want to apologize for the other day. I was emotional. Thank you. You have to understand. Her voice takes on the syrupy quality I now recognize as manipulation. When a mother sees her child struggling, she'll do anything. Ethan deserves the same opportunities you had. I worked 3 jobs during college, Vanessa. No one paid my way. Her lips tighten. That's because Raymond was too proud to ask for help. Family helps family, Michelle. It's what we do. Is that what you did when you left a 10-year-old girl with no warning and no support? The question slips out before I can stop it. I gave you life. Her voice hardens. You should be grateful for that much. Grateful. I taste the word. Family respects boundaries, Vanessa. My boundary is this. I won't be funding Ethan's education. Not now, not ever. After everything I've done. What exactly have you done? I stand up. Name one thing you've done for me in 23 years. She stutters, then abruptly gathers her purse. I won't sit here and be attacked by my own daughter. You'll regret this selfishness. That evening, my doorbell rings. Through the new security camera, I see my father's familiar pickup truck in the visitor parking spot. He hugs me tight when I open the door, the scent of Old Spice and diner coffee enveloping me. Your mother always did have a talent for creating hurricanes wherever she went, he says, setting his duffel bag by the couch. I'm handling it. I know you are, he smiles. the crinkles around his eyes deepening. You get that from me, not her. I just figured you shouldn't have to handle it alone. Later that night, my phone pings with a bank security alert. Someone has attempted to transfer $12,000 from my savings account to an unknown recipient. The IP address traces back to a device registered to Ethan Grant. With shaking fingers, I forward the alert to Martin and file a formal complaint. For the first time, I feel something beyond anxiety or anger, a cold certainty that this will end on my terms, not theirs. At 11:30 p.m., another notification appears. A second transfer attempt, this time for $8,000. My finger hovers over the press charges button on the bank's security portal. Dad watches from the kitchen doorway, his expression solemn. You sure about this, Shelley? I draw a steady breath. Let's see how far they'll really go. My phone lights up at 6:15 a.m. with a notification from the bank security team the next morning. Another login attempt. This makes 5 in the last 12 hours, each failing against the new authentication system I implemented yesterday. Right on schedule, I murmur, tapping the notification to document the timestamp. The coffee maker gurgles in the kitchen as I add this latest attempt to my growing spreadsheet. Time, IP address, location, all meticulously cataloged. Working with Aaron from the bank's security department has paid off. After explaining my situation, he set up a special monitoring protocol on my accounts. Each failed attempt now generates both a notification and a detailed log entry. We've got them, I whisper to the empty apartment. The words taste like victory. The phone rings. Dad, they're getting desperate, he says without preamble. Vanessa just called me. My stomach tightens. What did she want? To tell me you're having a mental breakdown. His voice carries decades of weary familiarity with Vanessa's tactics. Said you're paranoid, refusing to help family, and making up lies about them trying to access your accounts. Did you record it? Every word. Martin said to keep the phone on speaker and use my voice recorder app. Attorney Martin Keller had become our strategic anchor over the past week. His advice proved invaluable. Document everything. Record legally. Prepare methodically. She claims you inherited your instability from my side of the family. Dad's laugh holds no humor. Rich coming from a woman who abandoned her 10-year-old daughter without a backward glance. I check my work email. 3 new security alerts. Ethan tried accessing my company account last night. Jesus, Michelle, can they arrest him for that? Our security team is building a case. I scroll through the technical report our IT director forwarded. They traced the attempts to a coffee shop near the Westgate. Stupid kid didn't even use a VPN. The doorbell chimes, startling me. Through the peephole, I see Mrs. Wilson from next door holding a plate covered with aluminum foil. Thought you might need some real food, she says when I open the door. My Harold always said banana bread helped him think clearer during his days at the DA's office. The unexpected kindness catches in my throat. Thank you. Those two still hanging around? She peers past me into the apartment. Not physically. I accept the plate, but they're keeping busy. After she leaves, my phone buzzes with a voicemail notification. Vanessa, her voice trembling with manufactured emotion. Michelle, honey, please call me back. I'm at Street. David's Medical Center. Emergency room. Something's wrong with my heart. The doctors are... A theatrical pause. I don't want to frighten you, but they're running tests. I need you here, sweetie. Family should be together in times like this. My fingers hover over the callback button, a reflexive response bred from childhood guilt. Instead, I dial the hospital directly. Street David's emergency department, this is Jessica. Hello, I'm checking on a patient who was admitted this morning. Vanessa Grant. Papers shuffle. Spell the last name, please. Grant. Grant. I'm not seeing anyone by that name admitted today. She called claiming to be in your emergency room with heart problems. A pause. We haven't had any cardiac admissions in the past 3 hours. Would you like me to check if she's registered under a different name? No need, thank you. I add the call to my documentation. Timestamp noted. This manipulation tactic joins the others in my growing collection of evidence. My phone rings again. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Michelle Rowe? A woman's voice, vaguely familiar yet unplaceable. Yes. Who's calling? Patricia Lambert, Vanessa's sister. My aunt. A shadow figure known only through Dad's occasional mentions. I got your number from Raymond, she continues. We need to talk about Vanessa. My defenses rise. If you're calling to convince me to give them money. God, no. She cuts me off with a harsh laugh. I'm calling to warn you. This isn't their first rodeo. The coffee grows cold beside me as Patricia unravels a pattern spanning 2 decades. Vanessa and Ethan had worked this scheme on multiple relatives, friends, even Vanessa's second husband's family. 3 years ago, they convinced my daughter to co-sign a car loan. Ethan defaulted after 2 months, ruined Jenny's credit score. Why are you telling me this? I ask, though I already know. Because Vanessa's spinning quite a story to the family. Says you're refusing to help poor Ethan despite being rich in your fancy tech job. Says you're punishing her for old mistakes. And you didn't believe her? Patricia sighs. Honey, I've watched this show too many times. But others haven't. There's a family dinner Sunday at Aunt Mildred's. Several relatives want to hear your side. The prospect of facing extended family I barely know sends cold sweat down my spine. But the opportunity to counter Vanessa's narrative can't be ignored. I'll be there, I say, adding the details to my calendar. Dad arrives from Cleveland that afternoon, his truck laden with boxes. Found these in the attic, he says, hauling the first one to my dining table. Thought they might help. Inside, financial records dating back to Michelle's childhood. Child support checks Vanessa never cashed. Court documents from their divorce. A meticulous paper trail of Vanessa's abandonment. Your mother was always good at rewriting history, Dad says, spreading the documents across the table. But paper doesn't lie. That evening, Martin reviews our growing evidence pile over Zoom. The protective order documentation is nearly complete, he says, scanning the digital files I've shared. Bank records, unauthorized access attempts, false hospital claims, the pattern of behavior Patricia described. We have a solid case. Will it be enough? I ask. More than enough. The judge will see a clear pattern of harassment and attempted financial exploitation. My phone pings. Dr. Helen. Confirming our emergency therapy session to prepare for court. Another notification follows bank security, with detailed logs of the latest intrusion attempts. The trap is working perfectly. Later that night, a text from Ethan arrives. This is getting out of hand. Mom pushed too hard. Quote, I show Dad, who's setting up the guest room air mattress. The first crack? He says, nodding knowingly. When the united front crumbles, that's when Vanessa gets really dangerous. As if summoned by his words, Vanessa calls his phone. You've turned everyone against me. She shrieks, her voice so loud I can hear it across the room. My own family, my sister. You always poisoned them against me, Raymond. Dad holds the phone away from his ear, the voice recorder app running on my tablet nearby. Another text from Ethan flashes on my screen. Missed the enrollment deadline. Program gave my spot away. This is all fucked up. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. The consequences of their choices are catching up, Martin says when I forward him the text. Stay the course. That night, I sleep soundly for the first time in weeks. The trap set, the evidence mounting, the support system strong around me. We will start with the protective plan. My mother and half-brother thought they found an easy mark. Instead, they walked into a carefully constructed web of their own making. Let them struggle. The truth will hold. The next day, the lobby of Austin Cyber Solutions buzzes with the usual Tuesday morning energy when a commotion erupts near the reception desk. I glance up from my tablet to see Vanessa sobbing dramatically into a crumpled tissue, her blonde hair falling strategically across her face. My stomach drops as several colleagues turn toward the scene. Please, I need to see my daughter, she wails, loud enough for the entire first floor to hear. It's a family emergency. Ethan stands behind her, hands jammed into the pockets of his designer jeans, a rehearsed concern painted across his features. I freeze, coffee mug suspended halfway to my lips. 3 months of this escalating from texts to calls to showing up at my regular cafe, now they've crossed into my professional sanctuary. Sandra, our security-conscious receptionist, catches my eye with a questioning look. I shake my head slightly and she turns back to Vanessa. Ma'am, I can't allow you upstairs without proper clearance. Michelle. Vanessa spots me across the lobby. Thank God. The doctor says I might have. Well, it's serious. We need to talk about family medical history. Things you should know. My colleague's eyes burn into my back as I approach the desk, pulse thundering in my ears but steps measured. Doctor. Helen's words from yesterday's session echo in my mind. Your reaction is within your control even when their behavior isn't. Vanessa, I keep my voice level. This is inappropriate. If you have medical concerns, email me. Email? Her voice rises an octave. My own daughter wants me to email about possible cancer? After everything I sacrificed for you? The audacity steals my breath. Sacrificed? The woman who missed 17 birthdays, who never sent a single child support payment to Dad? We can discuss this elsewhere, I say, conscious of whispers rippling through the lobby. There's nothing to discuss, Ethan interjects, stepping forward. We're family. You help family. His eyes narrow. Unless you want everyone here knowing what kind of daughter you really are? The threat hangs between us. My hand tightens around my coffee mug to hide its trembling. Your mother abandoned me when I was 10. I tell him, voice steady despite the hurricane in my chest. You don't get to lecture me about family. This isn't the end, Vanessa hisses as security approaches. You'll regret this public humiliation. I know people in your industry. After they're escorted out, my phone lights up with a text from Ethan. That stunt cost you. HR gets anonymous tips about family drama affecting work performance all the time. One payment fixes everything. That evening, curled on my couch, I stare at the binder Martin prepared for tomorrow's hearing. Inside lies every text, email, bank alert, and security notification from the past 3 months, a paper trail of systematic harassment. My fingers trace the edge of the protective order application. Dad calls just after 9. You ready for tomorrow, pumpkin? His voice, warm and steady as always, grounds me. I think so. Martin says we have enough evidence for the judge to grant the order. I'll be there, front row. He pauses. You know, when your mom left, I thought it was my biggest failure not giving you a complete family. But watching you stand up for yourself now, I couldn't be prouder of the woman you've become. A lump forms in my throat. Thanks, Dad. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we finish this. The next day, the county courthouse looms like a fortress of beige stone and bureaucracy. I grip the handle of my documentation binder so tightly my knuckles blanch. Martin meets us at the entrance, his silver hair catching the morning sunlight. Remember, he says as we navigate security, let me present the evidence methodically. Judge Williams appreciates organization. Dad squeezes my shoulder. You've got this. Courtroom 4. Smells of lemon polish and nervous sweat. Vanessa and Ethan sit on the opposite side, both dressed in subdued colors, a calculated visual transformation from their usual flash. Vanessa's red-rimmed eyes and Ethan's uncharacteristic suit scream respectability. When Judge Williams enters, the room stills. She's a small woman with steel gray hair and piercing eyes that miss nothing. Case number 2025CV4872, Roe versus Roe and Grant, the bailiff announces. The proceedings blur until Martin calls me to testify. As I approach the stand, Vanessa's eyes lock onto mine, a predator's gaze calculating weakness. I place my hand on the Bible, swear to tell the truth, and face the courtroom. My voice barely wavers as I recount the night Vanessa reappeared in my life after 23 years, how she inspected my home with calculating eyes before demanding thousands for Ethan's education. And after you declined to provide financial support, what happened? Martin asks. They escalated. I detail the unauthorized bank access attempts, the mailbox tampering, the public confrontations. Miss Rowe, submit Exhibit D. Martin instructs. I pass forward printouts of text exchanges between Vanessa and Ethan, obtained legally through a subpoena after multiple reports to the police. If we push hard enough, she'll pay just to make us go away. Everyone has a breaking point, Vanessa had written. Ethan's reply, already tried her accounts again, new security, maybe threaten her job instead? Martin continues, methodically presenting each piece of evidence, screenshots of failed login attempts traced to Ethan's devices, recordings of Vanessa's increasingly manipulative voicemails, security footage from my building showing them attempting entry without permission, and most recently, Martin prompts. Yesterday they appeared at my workplace, created a scene in the lobby, and then threatened to file complaints with HR if I didn't pay them. And if Vanessa's attorney attempts to paint her as a misunderstood mother seeking reconciliation, but the evidence forms an irrefutable pattern. When Ethan takes the stand, His testimony contradicts Vanessa's on key points about their intentions. Judge Williams reviews the final bank security report, showing 17 attempted access incidents from 3 different devices registered to Ethan. The court finds clear and convincing evidence of harassment and attempted financial exploitation, she announces. The protective order is granted against both respondents for a period of 2 years, prohibiting contact within 500 feet of petitioner's home, workplace, or person. Each violation carries a $5,000 penalty. The gavel strikes with finality. Outside the courthouse, sunlight warms my face as Martin hands me the official paperwork. With this order in place, we can drop the potential criminal charges for now, he explains. But the paperwork exists if they violate it. Dad wraps his arm around my shoulders. Let's go home, Michelle. As we descend the courthouse steps, I catch a glimpse of Vanessa and Ethan huddled with their attorney, faces contorted with frustration. For the first time in months, their expressions don't trigger guilt or fear in my chest. Later that evening, I receive a text from a family friend in Cleveland. Vanessa and Ethan have already listed their Chicago apartment. Apparently, they're relocating to a smaller town where, presumably, their social circle hasn't yet heard about their courtroom defeat. I place my phone face down on the coffee table and take a deep breath. The walls of my condo no longer feel like they're closing in. For the first time since they reappeared in my life, I sleep without checking my security system 3 times before closing my eyes. Some victories don't roar, they whisper, "You're safe now." If you jested. 6 months later, the evening Austin air carries the scent of rosemary and garlic through my open balcony door. My fingers trace the new biometric lock panel beside my front door, a small reminder of victory rather than trauma now. "Michelle, these potatoes need another minute," Dad's voice calls from my kitchen, where he stands wearing the faded Cleveland Browns apron I gave him for Christmas years ago. No rush. I arrange water glasses on my small dining table, already set for 4. The doorbell chimes, and I notice the sound no longer sends adrenaline coursing through my veins. Progress. Through the peephole, I see Kara from work and Martin, whose legal expertise saved more than just my bank account. I swing the door open with ease. "Come in, dinner's almost ready." Dad's insisting on making his famous garlic potatoes. Martin holds up a bottle of Cabernet. "Thought we could toast your promotion properly." "Senior data analyst has a nice ring to it," Kara adds, squeezing my arm. The conversation flows effortlessly through dinner. We laugh about Martin's latest courtroom antics and Dad's stories about the regulars at his diner. No tense pauses, no analyzing hidden motives behind simple questions, just genuine connection. After dessert, Dad pulls a folder from his bag. "I wanted to show you these retirement numbers." His weathered hands spread papers across the table. The offer on the diner came through higher than expected. I study the figures. "This is great, Dad. You could fully retire next year." "Semi-retirement," he corrects. "Still planning to consult with the new owners 3 days a week." "Smart move." I pull out my own folder. "I've set up the monthly transfer we talked about, $600, direct deposit to your account. No more, no less." Dad nods, understanding the boundary. For years, I'd sent money haphazardly whenever guilt struck, often overextending myself. Now we have structure, clarity. That's more than generous, Mickey. His childhood nickname for me brings warmth rather than obligation. Later, after our guests leave, Dad helps me load the dishwasher. Dr. Helen thinks I've made real progress. I mention casually, "You seem lighter," he agrees. "Less burdened." I wrote something in my journal last night that finally made sense. I lean against the counter. Love doesn't require sacrifice of self. Dad pauses, a plate in midair. Took me 60 years to learn that. The next morning, I make calls to 3 local high schools about expanding my mentorship program for young women in STEM. What began with 2 hesitant students has grown to 15. I donate 10% of my income to their scholarship fund, not from guilt, but purpose. "We'd love to have you speak next month." The guidance counselor says, "These girls need to hear from someone who's overcome obstacles, not just succeeded." I'd be honored. The words come easily now. I'm no longer ashamed of my story or afraid it defines me. That evening, I stand on my balcony watching the sunset paint the Austin skyline in amber and rose. My phone buzzes with a text from Vanessa. "I'm in town next week. Can we meet?" 6 months ago, this message would have sent me spiraling. Now, I consider it thoughtfully before typing. I'm not ready, but I wish you well. When you're ready to demonstrate change through actions rather than words, let me know. I set the phone down, feeling neither vindictive nor guilty, just at peace with my decision. Back inside, I open my journal and write the final entry in this chapter of my life. Blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do for your family is protect yourself. The family we choose often heals the wounds left by the family we're born into. I close the journal and look around my apartment, no longer just a place I sleep, but a sanctuary I've earned. Protected not by locks and security systems, but by the boundaries I've finally learned to maintain. Have you ever had to choose boundaries over obligation? Tell me in the comments below.